Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to today's class. We're going to talk about study strategies. These are 9 study strategies for improving your reading and listening. So these are input forms of the language. Basically, we're talking about reading and listening. It's all input. It comes inside, comes from outside. It goes into your brain. We have to separate reading and listening from writing and speaking, which are output forms. So today we're going to focus on how to retain better or get that input better into your brain when you're learning English. We have to remember that there's an important difference between strategy and tactic. And in my course, we use both strategy and tactics, and I recommend that you always use them in your plans when you're trying to reach a goal. We have to remember that a strategy is what? It's a plan of the right things. It is, it's a plan in general. It's a big objective. It leverages your strengths. It defines a vision. It eliminates alternative paths, and it keeps you focused, and it is long-term. Then a tactic, which is a how and a who. It's more specific. It does things the right, shows you how to do the right things. It's flexible, achieves milestones, provides measurable accountability, and it is short-term. So a strategy is, the strategy has to remain. You have to stay focused on the strategy, but the tactics are the specific steps that you do to achieve a goal. And those you can change, you can be flexible about the tactics, but the strategy is the same. The strategy is like the goal, like if you have a goal to date someone, or you have a, you have a specific person that you like, you maybe you change the tactics about how you make that person interested in you, but the strategy remains, right? Which is getting that person interested in you romantically or whatever you're doing. These are strategy and tactics. So strategy is more like planning. It's on a large scale, and it focuses on why. It's difficult to copy, and it's over a long time frame. It's something that it's a commitment over a long time. And then the tactics is what you're going to be actually doing, steps on a smaller scale. It's the how, and it's easy to copy because it's like a methodology that you can repeat a process over a short period of time. So there are 9 strategies that I will talk about today. Number 1 is prioritize. Have a specific aim when you're learning English, right? When you are listening and reading, you should have a specific aim. You must always do things that will get you to where you want to be. You should make a specific plan. It can always change, but you must always stick to your main goals. Have specific goals. Knowing exactly what you want in life will get you there 10 times faster. Target one thing at the time, and there should be a comma right here. Target one thing at a time, comma, block off time to do that activity. So this is saying commitment. Then take action. No excuses. You just do it and get out of your head, get out of your comfort zone. A lot of times we spend a lot of time thinking and we don't actually execute, which is we don't take action, which is the next point. You must ask yourself why you're studying English. Are you studying English? You must have a purpose, a why, and you must ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to achieve? if you keep these questions in your mind, for example, you want to get a specific job in an English speaking country, I recommend that you study the vocabulary of the field for the job you're seeking. One of my students wants to get better at coding to study in an English speaking country and get a better lifestyle and become better programming. He actually wants to get a job at an English speaking country at a big company like Google or Amazon, I think, programming. So that's a specific aim. So as long as he has that in mind, he's gonna start listening to that type of content. This is my specific aim. This is my why. I speak fluent English. However, I'm still learning. I still cannot recognize certain expressions, and I want to improve so that I can make better music. I am a professional rapper, musician. That's my case. That keeps me focused on taking more input. This is example number 2. We have a student who wants to study a master's degree, and it is a requirement to do so. She wants to improve her language skills. So I suggested that she needs to learn first to speak, and she already can speak very good. So at her level, she's ready to read a lot and improve a lot on her vocabulary, which also she should focus on that specific program for the master's degree. You should ask yourself what it is that you want the most. For some, these are 3 students. One student just wants English proficiency and getting a master's degree. Another student here on the orange box in the middle wants English proficiency and to travel the world, a master's degree. And then the third student wants English mastery for music production, travel the world, and a master's degree. That's very general. I recommend that you set due dates for your projects, for the achievements that you have that you want to complete. You set a deadline. For example, these are my deadlines. By April of 2022, I wanted to have my course of Inglés Auténtico, which is this course. It's already in the process of coming together. But by October of 2022, I want to have a larger audience. This is for the music, but I want to have many sales, put my course on mastermind.com and have many sales with this course. So that's one of my goals, and it has a deadline. You should have a deadline so that it keeps you on check. For the music part, I have as a goal to have a larger audience, grow my YouTube or TikTok to 5,000 and plus by October of 2022. So that's a specific thing in my head. That's have a specific vision. The strategy number 2, or the recommendation, is to eliminate all excuses, and commitment, become disciplined, and taking massive action. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes we think too much and we don't actually execute. We don't take the action that is necessary to get us to that place. Limitations for learning a language are only inside your head. I had another volunteer who I asked, what are the excuses that you tell yourself about why you're not learning English? And one of the most common excuses is time and lack of vocabulary. Normally, it is not that we don't have the time, it's that we don't have it as a priority in our lives to get better in the English language. And that's because we don't have a specific aim for it. So we just stay using our native language which in this case, if you're a part of this channel, maybe it is Spanish, and then you lack the vocabulary to communicate. But this is also something that you should tackle first, like getting basic vocabulary for speaking. Volunteer number 4. I asked, why are you not learning English? And one of the reasons is because sometimes they say, students sometimes say, I don't have the resources, or I don't have a teacher. I have fear of mispronunciation of the words, or I feel ashamed. I feel that they're going to judge me, and also lack of vocabulary. So we have very similar excuses. If you don't have the resources, then you start looking for them, and you're going to come across something that's going to help you. And then the vocabulary is always the thing that I stress out the most when you're a beginner. It is very, very important that you have at least exposure to basic vocabulary. Now, are those fears and excuses real? Or are those feelings and thoughts just in your head? Are people going to really shame you? Do you really don't have the time? Are we not prepared to learn? The answer is no. We all have the ability, the time, and the resources to learn. Especially more nowadays that we live in a world where with the internet, we have access to all of these resources, all of these teachers, all of these channels and web pages where we can learn by ourselves. I mean, we can have the discipline to teach ourselves, but it is better with help of a mentor. I recommend always focusing on the things that you love as ways to learn better input. For example, what do you love? Do you love to watch romantic movies? You should start watching them in English. If you love cooking, you should look up and research for cookbooks in English. Listen to music in English, for example, rock music or whatever that you enjoy the most. The strategy or number 3 is to listen or read comprehensible material. So what am I talking about here? This is the most important principle, I think, because even if you don't have a specific aim on why you're learning English, if you're a beginner, you gotta make sure that you listen and read at the same time. That's number 1. But also, you can take notes if necessary. Use as review material and understand on a deeper level. But here, the most important thing is that, sorry, I had to mute you because there was too much noise. Andy. So the most important here is to comprehend, to make sure that you understand 65 to 80% of the material that you are reading or listening to. So this means that in order to stay in a flow state, you have to listen or read material comprehensible input. This is called the comprehensible input method. So it has to be something that is not so challenging that you don't understand most of it, but that also you find new vocabulary, new words that you don't understand, that you comprehend 65% of it or to 80%, but there's a part that you don't understand. Like you should always start comprehending and reading or listening to books or videos that are at your comprehension level, not too difficult, not too easy, always like on that zone of state of flow. It's like when you're training, when you're doing exercise, you don't want to do for example, if you're doing push-ups, you don't want to do the maximum amount of push-ups that you can do because you get burnt out. You also don't want to do too little exercise because it's not challenging enough and you don't grow enough. If you stay on that flow state, it's like, it feels like time goes by. You don't feel time go by. It feels like you're on that flow state. Strategy number 4 is recommendation number 4, I should call it, to be patient and do small improvements at a time. So this is Kaizen right here. Patience is key. Massive exposure to the language. The reality is that it will take a lot of exposure and work to actually reach a good level of English. I would say it's gonna take about a year or 2 working constantly day and day to get to a good level. But it takes a lifetime to actually learn a language. I'm still learning. So that's why patience is key. Patience is important. It's important that you distribute it day by day by using the Kaizen philosophy to improve a little each day. The Kaizen philosophy consists of improving a little bit every day, doing a small percentage of the work and getting better just a little bit every day. Learning, you never stop learning. So you have to plan and make immediate specific goals, and this will get you to them faster. But you also have to play it for the long run. And you have to express them in numbers and quantities, like I showed earlier, like having deadlines, and short term to plan every day, the night prior or early in the morning, like what are you gonna repeat as cycles, which are weekly cycles, daily cycles for studying, or whatever goal that you're focusing on. It's important that you repeat and you get better a little bit every day or every week. You do a little better and you are increasing the level of difficulty slowly, not all at once, slowly, patiently. That's also how the best athletes, right? They get the best result is consistency, doing it over and over, every day. Listen, read stuff that you like, focus on your passions. Number 5, you must listen and read things that you enjoy. If it is interesting to you, the levels of dopamine in your brain will skyrocket, which means go up, and you will absorb the content with almost no effort. And if you're not interested, you're in a passive state of mind and you actually don't enjoy the process that much, and you're not emotionally connected to the stuff that you're studying. Number 6 is to focus on the bigger picture. So what does the bigger picture mean? It means to identify clues. The bigger picture is like the big meaning of the whole thing that you're reading or you're listening to. You look for clues and context in words within the sentence use. Contexts are pieces of information that give you clues as to what the whole meaning of a sentence, of a paragraph is. So you shouldn't miss the forest for the trees. Don't miss the forest for the trees. Focus on the meaning of the whole sentence, not use the words themselves. Another strategy is to make proper use of technology. Forget about learning from a book for a little bit. This is boring and not useful, especially if you're a beginner and you're trying to learn from a book. It's not very recommended. You should make use of software, audiobooks, etc. Applications on your phone, like Duolingo or whatever you are into. You should change your phone to English because this will force you to interact with the languages all the time. With the language all the time, not languages, just language. How many hours a day do you spend on your phone? Actually, we spend like, I don't know, 5 hours, 3 hours on our phone on average. If you spent that time on your cell phone and it was programmed in English, you would start to get some vocabulary. And that problem of I don't have vocabulary would be you would be addressing that problem. You should also consume entertainment in English, like watching movies, listening to music, following YouTubers such as me. You can also, there's something in the chat. What does that mean, focus? Focus means to concentrate on. Let me see if I can go back. Yes. Focus means concentrate. It means pay attention to. Concentrate or pay attention to. Like in Spanish, it's like enfocarse, enfoque. Like focusing on, why did I say focus? You should focus on interacting with the language more. I think that's what I said. So you should concentrate, look for paying more attention to the language, I guess. Using the speech recognition as a tool. On your phone, you have a speech recognition. Like on my phone, I even have a tool called Live Transcribe. I don't know if you probably cannot see it, but it says Live Transcribe, and I can go ahead and press that button. I can go ahead and press that button, and it is going to transcribe directly whatever that I'm saying. So you can actually read what I'm saying right now live. Isn't that amazing? It's backwards right now. You cannot see it very well, but you can use that tool on your phone, which gives some speech recognition and helps you read as you are pronouncing the words. So that's a tool that you can use on your phone for making sure that you're using the right pronunciation. No problem. That's a tool that you can speak to your phone and it will write down every word I say, or you say. So it's a wonderful tool for teaching while enabling students to also check their pronunciation. Also, if you're in another country or you're talking to an English speaker, you can pull out your phone and your phone's gonna transcribe what they're saying. It can even translate it, right, and everything. That's how many languages do you need to communicate with the world? Only one, yours, with a little bit of help from your smartphone. Google Translate app can repeat what you say in 90 languages, such as German, Japanese, and many others. So there's no limit to language learning, and there's no reason why, for no reason, you would learn English. I mean, it's better that you have a purpose, because if you don't have a purpose, you might as well just use your phone and translate. I mean, there's no need to learn if you don't have a specific reason. Listen at different speed. This is strategy number 8. You're going to listen to an audio, a song, a podcast at different speeds. And the trick is to try different speeds. For example, you slow the audio down, and then you focus on the meaning of the whole sentence, not use the words themselves. And last strategy number 9, is to vary your listening routine. Vary the routine. So when you're listening to a podcast or an interview, try different things. Listen passively while you're doing different activities. For example, you can be in the kitchen, you can be cooking, you can be washing dishes or doing your everyday tasks. You can be at work and listening passively while you're doing something else. Or you can listen for pronunciation intonation. You listen to that same podcast, to that same audio, but this time you look for patterns and looking at subtitles if possible. You look for the pronunciation of the words as they are said by the speaker this time. you focus on something else. You focus on pronunciation. Then you try another thing. There's so many, you can choose your own way of listening, but here's another recommendation. Listen actively and take notes. Take notes, like pull out a notebook and start taking notes while you're listening to a podcast or an interview, and to understand the subject in a deeper level, or just focus your whole attention on the audio or video. Just focus completely on what you're watching or listening. Don't do anything else but just that. This is listening actively, etc. There's so many other ways that you can vary the routine. Don't always do the same. Change it up a little bit. That's it. Good luck. What do you need help with today? Are there any questions? And then we're going to look at this in Spanish real quick for the channel. Are there any questions? ¿Hay alguna duda? Lo que nos enfocamos en esta clase es estudiar estrategias para mejorar la lectura y el listening, que el listening es escuchar. Hay dos formas en las que usamos la información. Una es el input y otra es el output. Lo que entra y lo que sale cuando hablamos o escribimos, pero ahorita estamos enfocándonos en input. Hay estrategias y tácticas. Las estrategias son planes a largo plazo en los que defines una visión y eliminas planes alternativos y mantienes un enfoque. Es a largo plazo y utiliza tus fuerzas, tus capacidades. Mientras que una táctica es el cómo y el quién. La estrategia es el qué. Y son las tactics, son cosas que haces inmediatamente, son flexibles, tienen milestones que son como, ¿cómo se dirá? Cosas que completas. Tiene accountabilidad, son medibles y son a corto plazo. Lo importante es que una estrategia es lo que quieres lograr. Por ejemplo, como cuando te gusta alguien y quieres que esa persona se fije en ti, haces una estrategia y esa es la estrategia. Es que quieres llegar a llamar la atención con esa persona. Tactics, por ejemplo, por poner un ejemplo así, ¿no? Tactics son exactamente lo que haces paso a paso. Entonces puede cambiar la táctica, puede cambiar la forma, pero no cambia la estrategia, que es la misma meta que quieres llegar. Por eso estrategias son planear y tactics son hacer. Estrategias son a larga escala, es un porqué y son difíciles de copiar porque no son muy específicas y son en un tiempo de largo plazo, mientras que las tácticas son a corto plazo, a escala más pequeña, tienen un porqué, tienen un cómo y son fáciles de copiar, son replicables. Son como métodos paso a paso. En este video hablo de 9 estrategias para mejorar el input, la comprensión. La primera es tener prioridades, priorizar, tener un plan específico, tener una mira específica, un plan específico, un enfoque específico. Siempre tienes que hacer las cosas que te van a llevar a donde quieres estar, haciendo un plan específico que puede cambiar, pero siempre tiene que estar apegado a la meta mayor. Tener specific goals, saber exactamente qué es lo que quieres en la vida, te lleva 10 veces más rápido ahí. Y a la vez haces una cosa a la vez, bloqueando el tiempo, apartando tiempo para hacer esa actividad, como lo hemos visto con los time blocks. Por ejemplo, 20 minutos para hacer esta actividad, 20 minutos para hacer esta otra actividad. Y tomar acción, sin excusa, solo hacerlo y salirte de tu cabeza. A veces no es tanto de pensar mucho, qué voy a hacer, como solamente empezar a hacerlo, y cuando empiezas a hacerlo ya vas viendo qué es lo que puedes ir mejorando poco a poco, qué es lo que recomiendo, como que es la filosofía Kaizen. Tienes que preguntarte por qué estás estudiando inglés tener un propósito y qué es lo que estás tratando de lograr. Aquí vimos un ejemplo de un estudiante. Aquí vimos mi razón específica. Esto es otro ejemplo de y otros ejemplos de otros estudiantes. Esta es una línea de tiempo que recomiendo que sus metas tengan una fecha y un número. Por ejemplo, en octubre de 2022, tener una audiencia más grande, crecer en TikTok, YouTube, ¿no? 5,000 y más. Y tener muchas ventas en mastermind.com. Por ejemplo, esta versión del curso todavía no la tengo en Mastermind, solamente es exclusiva para vender de manera particular las tutorías y todo eso, pero no está en una plataforma como Mastermind. Todavía estoy trabajando en eso. Eliminar las excusas y comprometerse es la segunda estrategia, tener disciplina y tomar acción masiva. Entonces, esta es la parte que decía, no es tanto de pensar, es de hacer, tomar acción de manera masiva. Las limitaciones están solamente en tu cabeza para aprender un lenguaje. Las más comunes que escucho es el tiempo y la falta de vocabulario. También es el miedo a que no pronunciemos bien una palabra, la falta de resources, que son como materiales, no tener un maestro. Todos esos miedos no son reales, sino que solo están en nuestra cabeza y realmente la gente no se va a burlar de ti. Y si sí, creo que tienes que buscar otra gente con quien eh, practicar. Y si sí lo hacen, no es un big deal, no es un problema. O sea, tú estás aprendiendo, tú estás creciendo. Todos tenemos la habilidad, el tiempo y los materiales para aprender, más en la era en la que estamos, donde todo está disponible al alcance con el Internet. Y el tiempo no es un problema, el problema es el enfoque que le estás dando a tu vida. Y cuando te enfocas en algo que te gusta, por ejemplo, puedes ver películas que te gusten en inglés, buscar recetas en inglés, escuchar música en inglés, y eso empieza a ayudarte a aprender mejor. La estrategia 3 es escuchar material comprensible. Esta es una que usan otros youtubers, también he visto, que enseñan, que son políglotas y enseñan varios lenguajes, se llama Comprehensible Input. Y esta es una de las más importantes. Ahorita les digo por qué, pero si eres un beginner, que es alguien que va comenzando, tienes que asegurarte de que escuchas y lees al mismo tiempo, porque sobre todo en el inglés, la pronunciación no se parece completamente a la escritura como en el español, sino que son diferentes. A veces cada palabra hay que aprendérsela por su propia pronunciación, tomar notas si es necesario para usar como repaso material y aprender a un nivel más profundo. Pero esto es lo más importante, asegurarse de que estás comprendiendo lo que estás leyendo o lo que estás escuchando, un 65 a un 80% del material. Es decir, que no sea algo que comprendes casi en un 90, 100%, porque eso es muy fácil. Es muy fácil y no te reta a mejorar tu vocabulario. Si también es algo abajo del 50%, perdón, que no comprendes la mitad, también no es muy recomendable porque es muy difícil. Es muy difícil y vas a escuchar, por ejemplo, algo que está más allá de tu nivel de comprensión y lo que va a pasar es que se te van a quitar las ganas de seguir escuchando porque vas a tener que estar traduciendo cada vez mucho con Google Translate o cualquier otra aplicación. Y no es como que tratar de estar en un estado de flow en lo que no sea ni tan difícil, pero tampoco tan fácil, que estés en esa área balanceada en la que vas creciendo y luego cada vez escuchas algo más complejo. Por ejemplo, empiezas con caricaturas que son dirigidas a una audiencia más eh, de niños que tiene un vocabulario más simple. Ser paciente. Número 4, hacer pequeñas mejoras a la vez. La paciencia es la clave. exposición masiva al lenguaje. La realidad es que va a tomar mucha exposición, trabajo, para realmente alcanzar un buen nivel de inglés. Distribuir el día a día usando la filosofía Kaizen para mejorar un poquito cada día. Nunca dejas de aprender, por eso es importante tener metas específicas a corto plazo y otras a largo plazo y expresarlas en cantidades y números. Y planear cada día o cada semana, pero que sea algo cíclico. Cada día, cada semana, cada mes, pero es mejor cada día o cada semana. Planear la noche pasada o en la mañana temprano o la semana antes de que se acabe tu semana, antes de que empiece. Escuchar y leer cosas que te gustan, enfocarte en tus pasiones, es la número 5, porque si te interesa algo, los niveles de dopamina en tu cerebro suben por los cielos y absorbes el contenido con casi nada de esfuerzo. Comparado a si no estás interesado, tu mente está en modo pasivo y realmente no absorbes tanto el contenido. Número 6, enfocarse en la gran imagen, la bigger picture. Es decir, ¿qué es el mensaje más importante de un texto, de una oración? Hay que buscar pistas y contexto en las palabras que hay en las oraciones usadas. No hay ninguna duda, no, ok. Y no nada más las palabras por sí mismas, sino que hay veces, por ejemplo, hay phrasal verbs, hay idioms, hay conjuntos de palabras que quieren decir una sola cosa, como los idioms. En español también hay idioms, por ejemplo, gato encerrado. Aquí gato encerrado no quiere decir que es un gato que está encerrado, sino que quiere decir que algo no está bien. Y eso es un conglomerado de palabras. O, por ejemplo, los phrasal verbs, pick up, take off, etcétera. Quieren decir un solo significado, pero son 2 palabras o 3 palabras. Make proper use of technology. Hacer uso adecuado de la tecnología. En vez de aprender de un libro, puede ser aburrido y no es realmente recomendable para los que van iniciando. Es mejor usar software, audiobooks, cambiar tu teléfono al inglés. Esto va a obligarte a interactuar con el lenguaje todo el tiempo. ¿Cuántas horas al día utilizas en tu teléfono? Yo creo que en promedio estamos 4 horas, 5 horas o más en el teléfono al día. Consume entretenimiento en inglés. Ver películas, escuchar música, seguir youtubers como yo. Usar la herramienta de reconocimiento de el habla, speech recognition. Es una herramienta que hay en los teléfonos en la que escucha tu voz y transcribe lo que estás diciendo. Este es muy recomendable para que empieces a hablarle a tu teléfono y asegurarte de que estás pronunciando bien. O cuando estás fuera hablando con un nativo, transcribir lo que está diciendo. ¿Cuántos lenguajes necesitas para comunicarte? Solamente uno, el tuyo, con la ayuda de tu teléfono. Porque Google Translate puede repetir lo que dices en 90 lenguajes, como alemán, japonés y otros. No hay límite al aprendizaje de lenguajes. Entonces, no necesitas aprender inglés necesariamente. Si no tienes una razón específica, aún así puedes viajar, puedes hacer muchas cosas sin el inglés. Sí es mucho mejor, eso te da mucha ventaja, pero es mejor tener una razón específica para mantenerte más enfocado. Escuchar, la estrategia 8, escuchar a diferentes velocidades, reproducir playback, velocidad. El truco es intentar diferentes velocidades, hacer más lento el audio y enfocarse en el significado de toda la oración, no solo las mismas palabras. También variar tu rutina de listening, tu rutina de escuchar. Por ejemplo, si escuchas una entrevista, un podcast, escuchar diferentes cosas, escuchar de manera pasiva cuando estás haciendo otras actividades, escuchar para la entonación y la pronunciación, darle otra escuchada para ver la pronunciación, los patrones de pronunciación y buscar subtítulos si es posible. También escuchar y tomar apuntes para entender el tema de una forma más profunda, de un nivel más profundo y enfocarse toda la atención en el audio o el video, que es escuchar de manera activa, etcétera. Y esas son recomendaciones o estrategias para, para absorber vocabulario, input, listening y reading. ¿Hay alguna duda? Voy a dejar en la descripción del video un número al que me pueden contactar para tomar el curso. Ok. Muchas gracias y nos vemos en el